Alright, guys, what is going on today? A little bit old school, taking it back. Just old school, degen, juvenile drug stories, right? So, let's just get right into it. So, it's like early October, thereabout. I'm chilling at the trap house with my cousin. We're just kicking back. Fucking scored some perks, so we're fucking, all thrilled and shit. So, we end up taking. I think we were like perk 10s. I think we took, two each. We're just kicking back, smoking mids, just a little pump, just having a good time. And our homeboy Chris comes through his window, right? Which sounds weird, but, he lived in the basement, and you just walk by that. Anyways, he taps on it and starts telling us about his brother who, we already robbed, like, multiple times before because he went sideways. But at one point, he was a cool dude. Like, when I first met him, I think I was like 16. I think he was like 20 or something like that. And he was a cool guy, Just smoke weed, sell us weed, fucking, just normal guy. But see, I don't know. Somewhere along the way, he went sideways. Fucking stopped leaving the house. Was smoking like bismuth crystals, talking like a bunch of schizophrenic nonsense, like Satanism and whatnot. Anyways, he tells us that he's been tweaking out the past couple weeks. Thinks that the world's gonna end, and fucking he's setting up this place out in the countryside along the river in this bog to be his like bug out place, and that he has all sorts of valuable like survival stuff like tents, fishing poles, and just outdoorsy equipment. And we're like, oh hell yeah, easy score. So none of us have a fucking license, and this is like miles out there. So we hit up the homeboy Cisco. Now, Cisco didn't have a license. He was like us, just a degenerate drug addict. But, he had better connections. So he calls up his fucking barber with the promise of my cousin giving him, like fucking an eighth of some mids. We told him it was gas, but, that don't matter. So he rolls on up, and he has this clean as fuck white Audi, like pristine. This whip was immaculate, like fresh as hell. And we all pile in there and we drive out there, and he's telling us like, yeah, trying to make this mission quick. My girl's at home and shit, and we're like, oh yeah, of course, man. Easy in, easy out. So we drive out there, and we end up going to the railroad tracks behind this bar out in the country. And, park up there. And we start walking along the railroad tracks. And, our homeboy C is leading the way. And, we're just bullshitting the whole time. And if you remember, I said we took some perks. And by that time, we're feeling it. And, we're in our coats. We're just vibing, smoking a joint. Just thinking about all the cool shit we're about to score. And, we march on down along the railroad tracks into this grove of trees and off to this little encampment. And it was some Blair Witch shit. Like all the trees look the same. We're using like our cell phones as flashlights. Just kind of thing. It was just crazy. Just like pitch black, Lewis and Clark, full mission. Anyways, we eventually reached this encampment, and fucking C was fucking lying. Straight up. There was like a random assortment of shit. The only like survival shit out there was like tent poles and a fucking air pellet rifle. Other than that, it was fucking just like there was a fucking microwave out there, one of those fucking blue totes filled with electrical cables and shit. Just like complete nonsense, like tweaker hoarder shit. Like if you just went through your junk drawers in your house and just started just throwing shit into bins, that's what this looked like. So we're kind of pissed off at C, but it's like, all right, whatever, get the pellet rifle, get some cables, get the fucking copy of Ricky Bobby that was there, and we start, we're gathering up, and as we're turning to leave, C's like, hey, I know a shortcut, man. Get us out a lot faster. I got this shit. I'm Indian, bro. We're like, all right. We trusted him. And as we're starting to walk out, we're starting, we didn't realize at the time, but we're walking further away from the way we came in along the railroad tracks and out to the river. out into the tall grass and the reeds. And freaking, as we're starting to walk out there, start feeling the ground get softer. We're going further into the weeds. And I'm like, hey, Seaman, it's not looking good out here, man. I think we should turn around. It's like, oh no, it's fine. It gets worse before it gets better. Like I know where we're going. We keep walking, and eventually we're at like shin level fucking water, the stinky ass water, bro. Fucking like just duck shit, dead carp, just nastiness. And we're trekking through it, and then we're kind of freaking out because we're using our phones as lights. That shit's all dead. We're high on PERCS, starting to overheat and shit. My cousin throws down all the shit he had and just starts puking. He just starts straight yakking. And I was getting to that point too, but I made a call that I'm still not proud of. I was wearing my cousin's fucking Guess puffer jacket. And that shit was clean. It was like one of the big ones, and I threw that shit down. And I made a tactical decision. I made a calculated decision. I've turned on my inner fucking U.S. Army soldier, and I was like, all right, we're just gonna fucking march till we can a little bit farther out to see the fucking train bridge because there were a bunch of lights on it. And then we're just gonna make our way back. And lo and behold, we do so. Mind you, after this, my cousin's got fucking puke on him. We got mud up to our fucking shins. We were gone for like probably an hour 10 minutes, something like that. And homeboy's chilling in the Audi. I didn't have cell phone signal. It was a whole mess. So we finally come up the embankment. We fucking, walk behind this bar, and there was a bartender or some dude taking out the trash, right? And we had to walk past the dumpster, and he just saw these 3 haggard fucking teenagers, one of them holding a rifle and the other one holding a bunch of fucking like cord and a DVD. And the look on his face was fucking just like, what the fuck. But it wasn't compared to our ride. We had to get back in the Audi, and bro was not pleased. Like we got duck shit. We got mud all over the fucking floor mats and shit. It was, I still feel bad for that. And we did him dirty too with the weed we gave him. Like it was mids, honestly. That's all we got. It was just different times, and we never heard from him again. I think he stopped cutting our fucking friend Cisco's hair. Even I don't blame him. But yeah, moral of the story: don't take shortcuts at night or near bodies of water. I guess. I mean, sounds pretty obvious, but not to everyone. There's warning labels for a reason. People got to make mistakes. That's how we learn. But anyways, yeah. That's it. I'm out. JP. Peace. Moral of the story: don't take shortcuts at night or near bodies of water. I guess. I mean, sounds pretty obvious, but not to everyone. There's warning labels for a reason. People got to make mistakes. That's how we learn. But anyways, yeah. That's it. I'm out.